Well, first up, let's talk about Canada because its MP Chandra Arya has now spoken out strongly against a motion in the House of Commons that was taken up to seek to label the 1984 anti-Sikh riots as genocide. Chandra Arya, who was the only MP to oppose the motion, argued that calling riots a genocide would be misleading. He, while condemning the tragic loss of lives, warned of ongoing pressure from the Khalistan lobby, which he deemed as powerful, and urged Hindu Canadians to make sure their voices are heard to prevent similar motions if they are taken up in the future. The Canadian MP also highlighted the ongoing threats and pressure that he faces for voicing concerns of the Hindu Canadian community.
Today, the Member of Parliament from Surrey Newton attempted to have the Parliament declare the 1984 riots in India against Sikhs as a genocide. He sought unanimous consent from all members in the House of Commons to pass his motion. I was the only member present in the House to say no, and my single objection was enough to prevent this motion from being approved. Immediately after this, I was threatened inside the Parliament building for standing up and saying no. There have been several attempts, both within the Parliament and outside, to stop me from freely and publicly voicing the concerns of Hindu Canadians. While I am proud in having stopped this divisive agenda from succeeding today, we cannot afford to be complacent.
Let's get in a word from Pradeep Datta, who's joining us live right now. Pradeep, now, when it comes to the main contention that the MP has drawn, Mr. Arya saying that, yes, thousands of innocent Sikhs lost their lives in this horrific offence. It was barbaric and it is condemnable when it comes to the brutality. That should be met without any reservation. However, when it comes to labeling these tragic and dreadful riots as genocide, according to Mr. Chandra Arya, is misleading and hence is unjustified.
So there are two, three important points. One, this Chandra Arya, who is a Member Parliament of Canada of Indian origin, he has been intimidated for raising a concern over the issue. Because often we have seen the Justin Trudeau government keeps on giving sermon on democracy and on human rights. So one should ask this question to Justin Trudeau, what kind of a democracy is this if somebody has voiced his concern over a certain issue and he is being intimidated, he is being threatened. And the second thing is that already this matter is being investigated in India. The courts are looking into this matter and several people have been arrested in this regard. So what business the Canada has to interfere into the internal matter of India, what really has happened? They are trying to poke their dirty nose. And why they are doing so? Not that they are really concerned about Sikhs, not at all. Because already this is a barbaric incident, what actually the Chandra Arya was also talking about. When do you say that this was a genocide? He is simply trying to portray Government of India in bad light and also trying to create a divide between Hindus and Sikhs. That's what actually the Chandra Arya is opposing to. And the third thing is, if they are really serious about certain things, they should investigate the matter what really happened during Kanishka bombing. Until date, not a single person has been arrested in this regard. No action has been initiated against people who were responsible for Kanishka bombing. And fourth is that if they really think about justice, first of all, they should initiate action against all those Khalistanis who had been who attacked recently Hindu temple in Brampton. But no action has been initiated against them. So this is simply an eyewash. They are trying to widen the fault line between two communities. That's one of the reasons that when last time the Brampton temple was targeted, Chandra Arya said that we and the Sikhs are, Hindus and Sikhs are united against this thing, and that's one of the reasons we saw that there was a protest march from both the communities. They're saying there are a handful of Khalistanis who are trying to create a divide. What Justin Trudeau is doing, Justin Trudeau is busy with the appeasement politics. He has almost mortgaged his conscience to the Khalistanis because he wants to keep them in good humor for the vote bank politics. That is exactly what he's doing, and that is what actually the Chandra Arya is raising concern about. He wants that all the Hindus and the others need to be united to raise their voice against the Justin Trudeau government who are trying to play the divisive politics at behest of Khalistanis. So that is what actually is a matter of concern. So he already said that this was a barbaric incident. What really happened after assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in 1984, this thing should not have happened. But the question arises, what the Canadian government has to do with that, what the Member Parliament is sitting in Canada have to do that, when already the matter is being investigated in India. There are so many issues which they should have acted and reacted and taken action, and so that the justice can be given, provided to the people who had been affected because of Khalistani terrorism, but they haven't acted against them. Whether it was Kanishka bombing, whether it was attack on the temple, whether it was desecration of temple, whether it was intimidation of Indian diplomats.
Well, that's the point, because Mr. Arya has raised that concern, saying that this time, as he raised an objection, this move or this motion has been stopped, but he is not very sure, neither he can give any guarantee that it would be able to be stopped in the future if this motion is taken up again. Pradeep continues to be with us. We get you more updates that are now coming in, where two prominent British Indians who have had their honours stripped. Tory peer Rami Ranger, who has now lost his CBE, while Anil Bhanot, the managing trustee of the Hindu Council UK, has had his Officer of the Order of British Empire taken away. As far as when it comes to the decision that was officially announced in the London Gazette, when both of the men who are now required to return the insignia to the Buckingham Palace and can no longer use their titles. The forfeiture follows recommendations from a committee that has determined that they had brought the honour system to disrepute. Ranger and Bhanot, however, both have condemned the move, calling it as an attack on free speech. Now, the recommendations that were submitted to the King through the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Let's go back to Pradeep on this. Pradeep, what exactly was the notion that was taken up by these two individuals who have significant respect in the society there in the UK, which led them to be stripped of their honours?
See, action against these two prominent Indian citizens simply highlights the selective freedom of speech that is being observed in Great Britain. Because when we talk about these two people, whether it's a Rami Ranger or whether it's Anil Bhanot, because they are two prominent citizens who have really contributed in Britain, and they had been honoured for the reason because they had contributed, one, in the finances and also the cohesive community work that they had been doing. So what really has happened that recently there was a complaint against them. What was the complaint against Rami Ranger? That he had been stoking Islamophobia. And why this complaint was raised? Because he was the one who had raised a voice against the violence against the Hindus in last time. He said that the temples are being targeted, so he had tweeted about that. He said that he was not trying to stoke any kind of Islamophobia. He was only expressing his concern about the Hindu community, and that is his right to do so, because being a Hindu, he has to speak for that. And what is the complaint against Anil Bhanot? And see, what is ironic is the complaint is by the Sikh for Justice, a terror organization. And what is the contribution? If we talk about the contribution of Anil Bhanot, he has contributed in the finances of the Great Britain. He has contributed in inclusive, cohesive community service. And what is the contribution of Sikhs for Justice? They have been involved in the terror-related activities. Sikhs for Justice, a complaint against them because he was speaking in favor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he was challenging what the documentary that was produced by BBC. That means if an Indian will speak for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, you will be stripping him or her of honour. And because, see, if we talk about Rami Ranger, he has been honoured with the Commander of Order, Buckingham Palace, and he has been, if we talk about Anil Bhanot, he was honoured with the Order of the service by the Buckingham Palace again, this thing. So both of them have been stripped off. They have been asked to hand over the insignia to Buckingham Palace. Now they are going to approach the higher court, and they are going to challenge this decision taken by the UK government. Because how come you do so? Because if we raise voice for the people who have been targeted, who have been intimidated, who have been threatened, their temples are being desecrated, if there are few tweets, because already they had been given the clean sheet by the concerned authority, but despite that, finally the UK government has asked the Buckingham Palace to take back the insignia from them, and they will be stripped of their honour. So this is simply selective freedom of speech that is really a matter of concern, right from Buckingham to Brampton to Bangladesh. The Hindus continue to suffer as if Hindu lives and their voice do not matter, and they cannot raise their voice for their own people also. That's really a matter of concern. The organization like Sikh for Justice, a terror organization, can complain against them. The people who are prominent citizens and contributing to GDP, contributing to their community service and doing so many good things.
Well, because, you know, we are talking about two leading British Indian community individuals who have been vocal about the issues that they have been raised. Unfortunately, this is coming at a time when they have now been stripped of their honours. Thank you very much, Pradeep Datta, for speaking in detail about this incident.